the video for Dusty Springfield's new single, Nothing Has Been Proved, which is a scene from the film Scandal, based on the Profumo story, due to premiere in London on March the 2nd. That was one of the longest sentences in the world's history so far. Dusty herself is here tonight to tell us more. Hello.
Bravo. What?
Hello.
You should have said it was produced by the Pet Shop Boys. I think that's a pretty good idea. Oh, you're going to get... sorry.
Yeah, but it's your single. You know, credit where it's due.
Oh,
all
that's
right.
very nice.
Do you want to interview me?
I think they had it, yeah.
Right.
They had a lot to do with it.
How did they approach you to get you to do that, then?
Well, it was dead easy, really, because, I mean, I had worked with them before.
That's right.
So, I imagine... I don't know whether Neil and Chris were commissioned to do it. And actually, I heard a story that actually Neil had already had the song sort of on file, and then maybe he sort of dusted it off and changed the lyrics a bit. Right. And then I think they were just thinking of who would sing it right, so they asked me, which is very nice of them.
It's brilliant to be asked the second time, isn't it? So it must have really liked you the first time.
We'll get along well.
Oh, good, good. Have you seen the film?
Part of it, most of it.
What did you think?
It's actually very, very interesting. I don't think... I mean, to me, it'll be fascinating to see that. I think people will be quite surprised by the film if they expect it to be sort of sensationalistic and sort of tabloidy.
It's not?
It's not really.
Oh, good.
It's really a romance, which is... when the producer, Michael, told me that at first, or the director, I didn't... I thought he was joking.
Yes, you wouldn't
But
believe
actually, when you see it, it is indeed a film. It has a romantic base. I mean, basically, Christine Keeley was nuts about Stephen Ward.
Yeah.
I don't think it was reciprocal. And there were very real feelings. And obviously, in the dealing with it, then I don't think that was ever dwelled on, because it was much more interesting to get the headlines. And that wasn't really a good headline. They wanted their...
Yes,
sleaze.
Yes, exactly. Do you remember it all happening at the time? I mean, what did you think at the time?
Well, actually, I didn't really sort of... I was so busy. I think it was started up just before I became a solo singer. And in those days, I was extremely innocent, and I didn't understand things like pimps and whores and God knows what.
Right,
I mean, I perfectly know what it means now. But I just think it was like fresh out of, almost sort of from convent school, not really knowing about the world. I learned shortly thereafter. But it's interesting, the other day, or the other month when I was recording this, in the song it mentions a guy called Lucky. And I wasn't aware that I had met him, because the 60s for a lot of us was slightly cloudy.
Bit of a day.
But, yeah, definitely a bit of a day. It's wonderful days. But he came up to me and said, "Oh, Dusty, do you remember you used to hang out at my apartment?" Did I?
Oh, God. You're lucky you weren't in it yourself, then.
Oh, fine. Yeah, sure,
this is
Lucky.
the only extent of your involvement so far in this film.
Right.
How did you first discover you had the voice you've got?
When I learned that it got me attention as a child, because it was basically the same. And it's sort of odd. It's old enough now, but it's certainly odd in a 7-year-old. When I think we reached the age of reason, so I'm told. And indeed, I discovered that it was an attention-getting device.
Did you train it at all, or is it that's so natural?
Why do you think I can't speak?
Well, singing last night, up late singing?
Yeah, yes, actually, quite.
And what about the image? How did you come to the black panda eyes and the blonde hair? I mean, was that just how you were anyway, or was it a cultivated thing?
Terrible mistake. Actually, in those days, there was a look about 1962 in the French models. And they did it very skillfully. It was very, very dark, panda lids. But I never quite copped it. And so I put on far too much to the absolute sort of pandemonium caused in various TV makeup things. And because I actually looked at some of the old tapes, and you could not see my eyes at all. Which actually, it's probably a good idea.
Oh, no, they're lovely, though. That's the thing. I mean, now that it's slightly less, you can see your eyes. They're great.
But, I mean, the whole thing was I was probably looking at the floor, because I'm very nearsighted. So, actually, all you saw were these black eyes, and they were actually the lids.
Oh, right.
But I think that people assumed they were actually my eyes.
Yes, you blacked out the whites of your eyes.
But like so much, it was a question of not quite copying it right. A lot of us sort of did copying jobs on things and developed our own style almost by mistake.
So how can you explain, I mean, you must be unique in that you started in the 60s and you've still got an enormous amount of credibility now. I mean, you're not presenting sort of funny shows on TV or playing spotty youths' mothers like your contemporaries. I mean, you're still singing and we're still out buying your records. No, but why? Well, what's your secret?
Oh, it's an intolerance for boredom. I learnt a long time ago that I would never be able to stay alive if I had to play long summer seasons places. And there are indeed many people who can do that and make a lot of money do it and do it very successfully. But I took the risky route, which was indeed to sort of go away. and hover, and then sort of appear every now and again to do something that was challenging.
Yes, good.
Because I knew that I would just stop altogether if I didn't find the occasional stimulating thing to do. I mean, obviously you put up with the stuff in between.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do on a daily basis what some other people do.
The Vegas circuit.
But they make a very nice living doing it. But I'm sorry, I couldn't do it.
Well, you're still
There's nothing wrong with it, I just can't do it.
Right. So what, I mean, there was a gap, wasn't there? There was a long gap where we
Indeed,
didn't
there
hear
were
from you
several
at all. What happened there?
Well, I became very Californian.
Oh.
Yes, it was extremely nouveau riche and had all the right things. You know, the swimming pool, and I can't swim, but I had a lot of friends over. And, I mean, that was the one way to guarantee friends in California, you know, and that was the way things were done. And I did, you know, I did all of the things that I thought one should do, the house.
You did a lot of charity work, didn't you, for animals?
Yeah, and I still do.
I
I mean, when I say charity work, I mean, I was volunteer work. I mean, it wasn't about fundraising. It was actually about getting in there and cleaning out the shit, excuse my French. And that's the kind of work I do for animals.
Right.
Because they haven't got enough staff. I find that a very leveling experience, to put it mildly. You know, when all else fails, clean the litter boxes or muck out the stalls. I mean, it gives you, your priorities get very straight very fast.
What do you think of the current scene now, the music scene now?
I like it much better than the 60s.
Yeah? Because I heard that you were actually one of the first female singers in the 60s to stop this recording a whole album in 2 days. That you actually started, let's go back and do that again. You started all that.
I got a terrible reputation for the word difficult because I refused to do more than 2 songs in one session. And I was also actually the first person to ever use background singers who couldn't sing. I mean, no, beg your pardon, who couldn't read. Beg your pardon, Madeline. Beg your pardon, Leslie. Doris.
It's all right, we're still with you. Still with you.
They could definitely sing, but they could not read, so everything took a very long time. And that was, but they could hear well, and they could indeed sing well.
But I mean,
they're not watching this.
There's a difference, isn't there, between being difficult and being professional? Would you say you were more professional than difficult?
I just wanted more. I'm afraid it's the story of my life. It can lead you into all I ever wanted was more, whatever it was. And I think that can, with half the world doesn't really think like that. I mean, a lot of people, I'm quite willing to give 150%. But I can't really expect everyone. I'm just learning that. I can't expect everyone else to do that. If they just give 100, I'd be real happy.
Yeah, just
and a lot of people do, and more they do.
Good,
I think it's time.
Are there any current female singers that you think are good?
Annie Lennox, Alison Moyet.
Yeah. Because Annie Lennox actually covered I Only Want to Be With You, didn't she, with the Tourists?
Well, so many people have covered that.
I
wish I'd written it.
There's someone else, there's a little girl out now by the name of Samantha Fox.
Little girl?
Well, I was trying to be nice. Doing my best.
Actually, it's a bloody good record. I heard it.
It's a great...
I think it's very skillful. They just put that sort of gallop dance.
Do you like it?
I think it's very well done. I mean, it is really endlessly been a sort of teeny bopper song. And it works great, and I don't know why someone didn't think of that before.
Have you ever thought to bring out one of your own again?
Now.
5 times?
Yes, it's the 5th cover version.
And you didn't write it?
No.
It's a shame.
But I know who did. And I'm not going to say. I just know it wasn't me. My accountant knows it wasn't me.
Yes, quite, I know. God. Have you ever thought of redoing, like, digitally or a la Pet Shop Boys or something, any of your own covers again, or do you think you should keep moving
No, because
forward?
I mean, the record company that I was on for 19 years reissues them sort of every 2 months anyway. So, with some... You know, I mean, they managed to find the most god-awful pictures from sort of old Ready, Steady Goes and things, taken at very bad angles, and they just repeat and repeat compilation albums. However, the last one did go gold. So, I mean, there really isn't much point in trying to repeat, because they've done it so much. It's fine.
And what about for the future for you, very quickly? What are you going to do next?
Well, I mean, I'm very superstitious. I mean, there are indeed a lot of things in the works. Actually, I'm doing another film song in about 3 days' time in Los Angeles.
You're doing any live concerts or anything?
Later in the year.
Great.
I want to get the recording scene coordinated.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to that. In the meantime, thanks for coming in. We hope to see more of you soon.
Can I go back to sleep now?
You can. You tuck in.
Right,
I'll get on with the job at hand. In a minute, the Neighbourhood play live in the studio.